The castle on the hill, the fog rolls off the Susquehanna River like a heavy shroud, creeping up the ridge toward the castle on the hill. From the windows of the modern Greater Binghamton Health Center, the old Gothic structure looks like a jagged black tooth against the moonlit sky. The staff in the new building don't like to look at it. They say the architecture is oppressive, but you know better. You've seen the ledger of the lost. In the basement of the modern facility, tucked behind stacks of digitized records, lies the Book of the Unnamed. It dates back to the 1880s, when the hospital was a city unto itself. In those days, if you were poor, mad, or an embarrassment to a powerful family, you were scrubbed from history. Upon death, you weren't given a headstone. You were given a number. You trace your finger down the yellowed page. Grave 664. Male 40, exhaustion. Grave 665. Female 22, melancholia. The next entry is a jagged hole. Someone didn't just cross out the name. For grave 666, they used a straight razor to excise the entire line from reality. The field of stone. You hike out to the old potter's field. The grass is high, hiding the flat concrete markers that dot the hillside like discarded teeth. You count them out, your boots thudding against the damp earth. 663, 664, 665. You take a step forward, expecting to see the next digit, but your boot lands on a marker that reads 667. You frown and step back. You pace it out between 665 and 667. There is a gap of exactly 6 feet. It is a perfect rectangle of lush, vibrant green grass. But the ground there feels different. It's colder. When you stand on that empty patch, the ambient hum of the nearby highway vanishes. The air goes dead silent, as if you've stepped into a vacuum. The blood of the castle. The history books say the Vane family, the industrial titans who practically owned Binghamton in the 19th century, donated the limestone for the castle's foundation. What the books omit is why the Vanes had a secret. Silas Vane's daughter, Clara, didn't fit the Victorian mold. She spoke to things that weren't there and drew diagrams of stars that hadn't been discovered to protect the family name. Silas had her interred in the castle's deepest ward, but Clara didn't die of natural causes. The rumor among the old orderlies was that the Vanes didn't want her buried in the earth, but rather under the stone they provided. They believed that if her body never touched the natural soil of New York, her tainted soul could never move on to the next world to embarrass them in the afterlife. The supernatural glitch. You pull out your phone to take a photo of the gap. The screen flickers. The camera app opens, but the image is inverted. The green grass looks like a deep, bruised purple in the center of the frame. Standing in the gap between 665 and 667 is a tall silhouette. It isn't a ghost, it's a distortion, like heat rising off asphalt. It's a tear in the fabric of the hillside. You look up from the screen. The field is empty. You look back at the screen. The figure is closer now, its hand reaching toward the edge of the phone's lens. Then you hear it, not a voice, but a vibration in your teeth. A low, rhythmic thumping coming from deep beneath your boots, the sound of someone knocking on stone. 3 knocks, a pause, 3 knocks. It's coming from the foundation of the castle. 300 yards away. The ending. You scramble away from the graveyard, your heart hammering against your ribs as you reach the paved road of the modern campus. You look back one last time. The moon catches the castle just right, there in the highest window of the abandoned Gothic wing, a room that has been welded shut since 1993. A single candle flicker of light appears. The Vanes are long gone. Their mansions in downtown Binghamton are now law offices and student housing, but their masonry project remains. Grave 666 isn't missing. It's just waiting for the building to finally crumble, so whatever is trapped in the limestone can finally touch the dirt. Until then, the numbers skip, and the silence in the gap grows louder every year. The moral of the story, the true haunting of the castle on the hill, isn't found in the skipping numbers of a graveyard or the flickering lights of an abandoned ward. It lies in the cold, calculated silence of those who built it. The missing grave of the Vane family reminds us that man's greatest cruelty is not the harm we do, but the effort we spend pretending it never happened. The elite of old Binghamton didn't just lock away their mad and their broken. They attempted to edit the very earth to hide their shame. They believed that if you strike a name from a ledger and a number from a field, the person ceases to exist. But history has a way of breathing through the cracks in the stone. You can bury a body, and you can even bury a secret, but you can never truly bury the truth, because the more you try to erase a soul from the world, the louder its silence becomes, until the gap it leaves behind is the only thing anyone can see. Sleep well, listeners. And if you ever find yourself walking the ridges of the southern tier, mind your step. Some gaps in the earth are wider than they look,